Summer is here, and sometimes it's hard to come up with ideas of things that you can do according to the seasons that your children are in. So I'm here to help you with all the ideas today. Sometimes life just sucks, and sometimes it freaking rocks. We will discuss all the things from family and real estate to travel and just life in general. So take a seat, or don't, you do you, and welcome to the Lambadass Podcast. I really want to talk about summer and summertime and what it means to me, especially as a mom. Now, summertime is my favorite time of year. Again, if you've seen any of my videos, I have probably mentioned summertime. It's the best. I live and die by a schedule, especially in my profession, in my business life. I have to run by like a super strict schedule. During the school year, my kids run by, we're very spontaneous. Like we do a lot of spontaneous things, but for the most part, like we have a schedule. You know, the kids have to go to school. I have to get up and get them there, or they drive themselves now, but I have to shower, I have to get off to work, then I got to be home by a certain hour, and then I got to cook dinner. Summertime, I feel like the schedule gets to like fly out the window for a good 8 to 9 weeks. And it's funny because I am a very scheduled person. I love my schedule, but then to not have to have it, it's kind of amazing. So it's funny too, because I never realized how much the schedule really played a part in my love for summer, but 100% does. The biggest reason why I love summer is because my kids are off of school. Aside from the whole scheduling thing, I have never liked sending my kids to school. I have always enjoyed my children being home with me. I know not every parent feels that way, and I totally get that too. Like, trust me, we need a break, especially when the babies aren't in school and they're little. Like, yes, you need a break because every day is just redundant. But I want to give you guys a feel for things that I did as my children were growing up that really helped me push through those summers when they were babies, and then, really start to enjoy those summers when they started school. And like, I'm the type that like, I really get into a depression almost. I don't take it lightly at all that my kids are going back to school. So my mom will actually call and check on me. She's like, "Are you okay?" I always wanted to be a mom, and I want my kids home with me. Now, I don't want to homeschool them, right? Because if I did, then I would. It's not about the schooling. Like, I just want to have fun with them. I want to go to the beach. I want to go to Knott's Berry Farm. I want to go do all the fun things that, parents want to take their kids and do. So, let me also say just really quick, in Southern California, we get sun, a lot of sun, most days of the year. So during the summer when it's warm and it's hot and it's just lovely. It brings my whole attitude up. It's amazing. My sister lives in the Pacific Northwest, and I don't even know how she does it, because the gloomy days that we have in June specifically totally get me down. Okay, so when I had my kids, now mind you, I was 21 when I had Jared. I was 23 when I had Connor, and I just turned 26 when I had Carson, and Carson was born, I'm on the 1st, he's on the 18th of the month. So I had my kids really young and very back to back. Also, Jacob came with David. So when I married David, I was an instant mama. And so, we had him when we had it all scheduled out with his mom and stuff like that. So for my entire relationship with Sweetie Pie, I have always been a mom. So always finding things to do and having, fun things that we can go and do and stuff like that outside of the day-to-day basis was something that I have worked on essentially since I was 18, because that's when I met David, when I was 18 years old. So again, this is a natural calling for me. So anybody who is like, I cannot relate to this, that is okay. So when they were babies, it was a little more difficult, right? Because here I am, 26 years old and with 4 kids, and I was pretty much the only person that I knew my age that had kids. So I did have 2 girlfriends in particular. that we would talk and stuff like that. We went to high school together and what have you. One of my girlfriends at the time, she had a daughter when we were in high school. And then one of my other girlfriends got married young and had babies young. So I was able to kind of bounce things off of them. Well, one of them told me, you really should look into Gymboree. Now, I don't know if Gymboree is a thing anymore. And for some of you mamas who maybe have kids the same ages as mine, maybe this brings up fond memories for you. But Gymboree was probably really close to like a My Gym, I think. My kids never went to My Gym, but it's kind of like one of those things where you go and you play and you have, but it's all like about feeling and it's about hand-eye coordination and it's about, it's constructive play is what it is. And I remember we used to drive to San Dimas. Now, I lived in Chino at the time. So if we're looking on a map or you're not from California, that's a good distance. It's probably like a 40-minute drive to get there. So it was 40 minutes there, 40 minutes back, and an hour playtime. So it was nearly what is, I don't know the math on that, 4, 8. So it was like almost 3 hours, give or take, worth of playtime and time that we were outside of the house, which really broke up our day. So I would go, especially when Jared was really little, and I would take him to these classes. Well, it was at that class that I met one of my sweet girlfriends. We raised our babies together. In fact, our boys, Jacob and her son, had the same birthday. And so my girlfriend Elvis, like Elvis, but with an A. I met her and my other girlfriend at the time, Joanne. We're all still Facebook friends, but we don't hang out as much as we used to because life happens. But we still follow each other and love and support each other's kids. Anyways, she tells me you really should look into Mom's Club. And I was like, Mom's Club? And she's like, yeah, it's this awesome community of moms that get together. And it actually stands for something. It's actually an acronym, and it stands for Moms Offering Moms Support. So dads, my apologies, because I know that we do have a lot of dads that are staying home and raising their kids while mom is in the workforce. I have no advice for you, and I'm so sorry. However, Google is a fabulous resource, and I would definitely start there if you are a dad looking to get involved with your children if you stay at home with them. So Moms Offering Mom Support. They were, and I think they still are, I think they're still around. They are a nonprofit organization, and what they do is you have bylaws and you have like a president, a vice president, and all these things in these subdivisions of the Moms Club organization, and they are all over the United States. Can I tell you that the Moms Club saved my sanity when my children were younger? It was the best. So you join, and it's great too because at least our branch, for lack of a better word, division, really took into consideration the fact that a lot of us were, I almost said single moms. Single moms are totally welcome too, but stay-at-home moms. And we would try to do things that were relatively inexpensive, if not free. And because you are a nonprofit, a lot of times people will donate things, activities and stuff like that for you to go and play or enjoy things with your kids. For example, on Tuesdays, we would go to the park. It was free. We were at the park from 9 to noon. And I'm just giving you an example. You could stop by anytime between 9 and noon, and there was always going to be somebody there. And while the kids played, the moms got to talk. We got to do lunch and, bring a sack lunch or whatever. And it was so fun. Wear the kids out really good, take them home, put them down for a nap. It was amazing. Some really fun activities that we did. And these are things, by the way, that you can do even if you don't want to join Mom's Club. One of my favorite things to do with my kids that I remember vividly to this day, and even after my kids outgrew Mom's Club, we still continue to do this. We would take the train down to the beach. Now, you can, Amtrak can be a little pricey. I'm going to start there. But you can leave out of Fullerton or Anaheim, and you can take the train it will drop you off at San Clemente Pier. And the cool thing about that is it drops off twice in the morning and twice in the afternoon. It drops off or picks up. So you can go first thing in the morning and then take the first train back. But it was so neat because we'd all get off with all these kids in our hands, and we'd have all these shovels and everything. We'd go spend the day at the beach, wear the kids out, put them on the train. They'd pass out a little bit on the train, get home, cook dinner. Everybody goes to bed fairly early. And if you're really only paying for the Amtrak fee, well, in hindsight, it actually wasn't all that bad because we would just bring our own lunches and stuff like that. So needless to say, That is a really fun activity that you could do with your kids. Another thing we would do is we would go and in San Juan Capistrano, they have a really cute zoo. I say zoo very loosely, but it's almost like a petting zoo. Like they have really cute guinea pigs and stuff like that. So we would take the kids there. It's called Zoomers, and I believe it's like $2 to get in. So again, relatively budget friendly. Let me backtrack. It was $2 when I took my kids. So if they've jumped up to $5 or whatever, it's just a sign of the times. Now, right up the street from Zoomers, you could literally just walk right up the street. Side note, the train also stops there. So if you didn't want to maybe do the beach, if your kids are little and you're a little apprehensive about taking them for a full day at the beach, totally get it, mama. Take them to Zoomers, go see the little pets and whatnot, and then walk up at the top of the main street there, like you cannot miss it, is a Ruby's. I hope it's still there. It's right across from the San Juan Mission too. So if you wanted to go to the mission for the day, especially if you have a 3rd or 4th grader, I think it's 4th grade, when they're doing the mission trips and stuff like that, like you can take them to see these things. It's just really neat culture. There's so much here in California that you can do and see for free that I think a lot of people don't realize. We went down to Irvine one time, and they have this big orange balloon. So we took all the kids, and it's kind of cool. It's on a rope and everything, and they put you up in the air, and then they bring you back down. Super easy, but you could do that and then go to Chick-fil-A. So there are things that I loved doing as my kids, and a lot of them revolved around the Moms Club because they had fantastic ideas. Now, just to pitch the Moms Club one more time, we also did things where we raised money for communities that were in need. So like every quarter, we would do something that was bettering the community. So whether it was a canned food drive, or if we did we did really big garage sales too, like where everybody would clean out their closets at the beginning of summer, and then we'd do a big yard sale in somebody's front yard. And then all that money that we raised, we would then give away to a charity or, another nonprofit in our neighborhood. So it's also a great way to give back and start teaching your kids to give back and why you're doing these things. So Moms Club, if you are still around, kudos to you. You got me through some crazy times as the babies were growing up, and I'm so grateful. My kids, even to this day, still talk about Moms Club, and they were fairly young when we were going through that. So that's what I would do when my children were younger. Highly, highly recommend. Let's talk about like the adolescents. So now they're in school, and now you are literally in crunch time. Like you're like, I have to do things with my kids. Truth of the matter is, the main thing that we would do is go to the beach. My kids are older now. They listen. If I scream at them from the beach, I'm not having to run out after them. Like it was fairly easier once my kids turned 5 and 6. So beach trips are a must. You can actually, from the state, you can buy a parking pass for the whole season. And it's a lot cheaper than going and paying every single time to park at the beach. So highly recommend you do that. Especially, I want to say we did that a couple times throughout the years. We would do that a couple summers. So where we would get a pass if I knew that we were going to be home and stuff. Now, as the boys got older, we traveled a lot more. So we didn't go to the beaches often, but even still, my kids go to the beach all the time now, and I'll get there. So the beach is a big one. Now, I love going to the beach because it's a great way to wear out the kids, and you can literally go at any time of the day. So if you are a working parent, you can work in the morning and then head down in the evening when you're off work. Or if your schedule allows, go in the morning and work evenings, whatever's best for you. So I love that it's always there. There's always something to do. Traffic in California blows. We all know that. So depending on where you live, you're going to have to time it right according to your schedule. But you can really make the beach work. And like I said, it can be relatively inexpensive to do that. Another fun thing that we enjoy doing is bike riding. My kids love bikes. They love being active. They love skateboards. And as a parent, I really try to stay as active with my kids as possible. I'm actually going to Hawaii with Connor in a couple weeks. And he's like, do you want to surf? And I'm like, no, I don't want to surf at all. But poor Connor's like, oh, I really want to surf. And I don't know. My son surfs anyways. He goes to Huntington Beach. All my boys do, actually. They go to Huntington Beach and they surf there. Now, the waves in Hawaii are different. And we're going to Maui. So like where we're staying, the waves aren't even anything compared to Huntington Beach. Huntington Beach is just way bigger and way amazing surf-wise compared to where we're going to be in Maui. I know there are some great places in Maui, but where we're going to be specifically. So I was talking to Connor and I'm like, dude, you surf all the time. Like, you do not need surf lessons. I'll just rent you a board and I will watch you and take photos of you from the shore where I like to be. And he's like, the problem with that is the reef. The reef is something we don't have to worry about here in California because our water is just not as clean and beautiful and pure as it is in Hawaii. So I'm like, shoot, that's a great idea. So anyways, I'm probably going to have to splurge and get him some surf lessons while we're there so he doesn't, knock himself out on some reef. Anyways, but you guys can rent surfboards, you guys can rent bikes, you guys can rent all sorts of stuff down at the beach if you don't want to travel with your stuff or if you don't have the means to get it down there, like if you don't have a big car or something like that. So much fun. One of the things that I used to do as a kid, my parents used to take us to Balboa Island and we used to get Balboa bars. And so that's one thing that I really enjoy doing with my kids also. We usually try to get at least one all together during the summer. Hey, speaking of, my son just walked in, so I'm going to finish up with this episode and then we'll get to you. But that's one of the things that I absolutely love. I love taking my kids and going to get Balboa bars. They're ice cream bars. They dip them in chocolate. They roll them in sprinkles and peanuts and all sorts of stuff. And it's nice too because now that my kids can drive, they can go down and get the Balboa bars or go jump off they don't jump off the pier. They jump off the bridges and stuff. You jump off the pier? Ugh. Are you supposed to do that? Nobody tells you not to. Are there signs that tell you you should not? Okay, so there's no signs. Apparently he jumps off the Balboa. Well, it's a bridge, right? It's not really a pier. It's a pier. Fantastic. So they jump off the pier with their friends. They go and do all the stupid things that I would probably yell at them for, which is what kids are supposed to do. So that's no, but even as a little kid, you can go and you can share those items with them. Jump houses are great. I loved taking my kids there. The great thing about going to jump houses, like the trampoline parks and stuff like that. That's what I'm talking about. The one thing that I loved about that is I used to take my computer and I would work from there. So as long as I wasn't showing homes, and then if something came up where I needed to leave, hey, wrap it up, we got to go. But at least my kids got a good amount of time jumping out, and it worked jumping it out, I guess. And it got them tired, you guys. That was my main goal when they were younger, even in their adolescent years. Another thing that I think really saved us when the kids were younger, and we were just talking about this the other day at the dinner table, which is funny, is we had a rule, 2 hours, no feet on the floor. And they didn't have to sleep. My dad used to tell me when I was little, you don't have to go to sleep. You don't have to take a nap, but you have to lay there and rest your body. Okay. Naturally, we would always fall asleep. What I would tell my kids is if they wanted to color and read, and this really helped too, especially as they got older, when they got into 5th and 6th grade, it was okay, just lay down and rest your body. You don't have to sleep, but you can color or you can read or, you could do those things. So no electronics, but you were more than welcome to sit in your bed and read a book or whatever. And again, that gave me as a mom 2 hours to decompress, nap if I needed to nap, take phone calls if I needed to take phone calls from the house. It allowed me to do so many things. So even though I mentioned at the beginning of the podcast that summers weren't structured, they kind of were. And they were kind of structured around nap time and how I could get my kids most tired and wear them out while still having fun and creating memories. The last point I want to touch on is summer with teens. It is such a bittersweet thing, you guys. Even Connor this week, he drove up to go see a friend of his and they totally went to the beach and had a good time. And it was funny because when he was on his way home, he's like, hey, I'm on my way home. And I'm like, good, because I missed you. I miss you being home. Carson with his BMX, he actually had a friend spend the night last night. They're going to go and probably bike ride all day at the skate park. Now they're into their own things. So mamas to teens, my advice to you is to rein it in, bring it in, tell them, we are having dinner as a family on this night. I need you home by this day or by this time. Book the family vacations. Now, here's the thing. When it comes to family vacations, I am a stickler for very inexpensive activities and vacations. If it's not a deal, we're not going. One of the best vacations that we did with my kids, in my opinion, was a road trip. We road tripped straight from DC. We flew to DC and we drove home. And it was so much fun. It was just me and the kids. David had to stay home His job didn't allow him to come with us just because naturally he had to work. So, and I can work from the road. So it worked out really great. And I did it with my sister and her kids. We just had the best time. It was so much fun. I took the 3 youngers because Jacob was playing football at the time. Like, I want you guys to meet your kids at the season that they're in. So Jacob had football, but I still had 3 littles that didn't. So I did stuff with them. I was actually just talking this morning. I've been trying to take my nephews out to Havasu, and I'm like, I've been bugging. Seriously, she's probably so annoyed with me, bugging my sister-in-law, like, please get me their schedule. Please get me their schedule. Please get me their schedule. Well, my kids were like, oh, hey, one of my nephews started playing football for the high school, and I'm like, oh my gosh, his schedule is like shot. And then my kids told me that one of my other nephews got a job, which is freaking amazing. I am so freaking proud of him. And it's like, it's over. Like, going to Havasu and picking up and taking everybody, like, it's kind of just, it's just not there anymore. And it's so sad. So you really need to front load those summers, and you really need to start planning those things, because if you don't, you guys, they're going to have jobs and they're going to start playing sports, and it's going to get difficult. But keep in mind the little ones who don't have those things. I get to take Connor to Hawaii this summer, and it was funny because David and I were, if you follow me on Instagram or Facebook, David took me to the Parker Hotel. We were celebrating my high achievement at my office. I was number 1 in my office for units sold and volume, meaning the most money, like if you added up the sales price of all the homes, like the most, so it's not the most money, but the most amount sales wise, and then the most amount of units. So I sold the most amount of homes. And so every year we would celebrate. And this year I'm like, listen, we're just busy. We have a lot going on. And he's like, yeah, we're still celebrating. So he took me just for one night to the Parker Hotel, which is also something fun you could do. Totally take your kids to Palm Springs for the night. You can get really great deals on Groupon even. So check that out. But anyhow, we're out there and he's like, I feel bad. We're going on a mini vacation and we're not taking the kids. I said, I don't feel bad at all. And he's like, maybe you should take the boys and go, Connor and Carson. Jared has work and Jacob's married and, doing all the adult things. And I was like, okay. So we found a really good deal naturally. And I'm actually going with just Connor because Carson wanted to go to Woodward, which is like this BMX, like skate park camp type of thing. So he is so pumped to do that. But I was thinking about it later and I'm like, this is the last summer before Connor starts his last year of high school. How lucky am I to be able to take him to Hawaii for 5 days to go and just have some one-on-one time with him. And you guys, it doesn't have to be Hawaii, okay? It can be, it can be just down to San Diego for a night or 2, or it could be Arizona. Arizona is relatively close. You could go to Scottsdale. Like, there's so many different things that you guys can do. You don't even have to go away for a night. We have amazing museums. If you venture off into LA, you have the Getty Museum that you can check out. You have LACMA, which is incredible art and stuff. It's such a fantastic museum. If you have never been to LACMA, highly recommend. We actually did a photo shoot there one year. So my advice to you moms and dads who stay home with your kids during summer, first thing is meet your kids where they're at. If you only have 2 kids that can go and take those 2 kids. Don't feel bad that the others are off doing their own stuff. 1, they don't feel bad. And 2, and that's just because that's where they're at in their life. And 2, you don't want to miss out on making memories with your other kids because everybody couldn't go. The other thing I would say is really start looking into the fun things you could do. When the kids were little, we would make a list of all the things the kids wanted to do and we would start checking them off. Bonfires by the beach, check. Going to the beach, check. We want to go to the museum, check. Santa Ana Zoo, check. So we would start checking these things off and you start looking at your calendar and booking it where it allows. So I want to finish up by just saying I love summer. I can't believe it's so short. It makes me so sad every year when they go back to school. But I really hope that I've given you some little tidbits and some little nuggets of what you guys can do with your kids over the summer. And honestly, you guys, if you guys have any advice for me, my youngest is, how old's Carson? 15. I almost said 14, but I'm like, I know that wasn't right. My youngest is 15. My oldest is 25. So if you have any ideas or things that I can do with my kids too, I'm totally open. Please leave them in the comments. Shoot me a DM. I am open for all the suggestions. Really quick, I know I said I was going to end, but let me say this. My daughter-in-law is 24 years old, okay? And even her with her schedule, I was like, what is your schedule like this summer? When can we hang out? Not only have we done dinners and barbecues and stuff with them already this summer, but her mom and I are going to go have a day at Glen Ivy. Like, I'm like, let's just have a girls' day and let's just catch up on all the things. And so her mom and I were texting. I love her parents. Her mom and I were texting the other day. She's like, I'm so excited to catch up with you. Like, create these relationships. That's what summer is for. Don't get so wrapped up in the fact that the kids are off and you're going to be stressed and all these things. Focus on the fun things that you can do with the kids to pass the time, to enable you to get through these summers and have fun while doing it. I hope you guys have a great day. I love you. Thank you for being here. And I hope you guys are enjoying summer as much as I am.